Hello, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. This is Unlocking Creativity, Designing Puzzles with Canva and Cricut Design Space, and I'm Susan Buckert. Please feel free to scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen so you can come back and view this presentation later for links to resources and design details. I hope you're enjoying all things Canva in this Canva Teachers and Librarians International Spring Showcase. Thank you, Christina, for including me in this amazing event. I posted about puzzles in Canva on our social media earlier this semester, and several of you expressed interest in learning more about that. So here we are. A little bit about me. I'm Susan Buckert. I'm the Library Media Specialist at McEachern High School in Powder Springs, Georgia. We are a suburb located northwest of Atlanta in Cobb County. You can find us on Instagram and X at McEachern LLC. This is my 25th year teaching in the Cobb County School District, and it's my 9th year working as a school librarian. I have the best job in the world. I am so lucky to get to come to do what I get to do at work every day. I'm a lover of all things graphic design. I was hooked when I became the yearbook advisor at North Cobb High School. I've been using Canva since 2015. I just continue to be blown away at every aspect of their design app, and I'm so grateful for my free educator account. Before we begin our design tutorial, let's talk about why puzzles. My puzzle design journey evolved as part of an escape room lesson that I was working on with our AP Lit teacher. We wanted to create a hands-on tactile version of a digital breakout puzzle that we had seen. We thought it would be more engaging for students, so we decided to create an actual puzzle. I've also used the puzzle as a hook for a book club murder mystery activity. My discussion leaders for that meeting wanted to create a scavenger hunt to get students to the clue cards for the murder mystery, so we use a puzzle to guide them to the clues. You could certainly introduce puzzle making in your makerspace and let students design their own. This would obviously build their technology and design skills. You could even assign puzzle making as a content area assignment. For instance, in an ELA class, students could design and produce puzzles that symbolically represent characters using imagery and language. These are just a few ideas that I have come up with for design applications. I'm sure there are so many more. Here's a look first at the puzzle we're going to create. This is one that I created for a breakout EDU escape room lesson on Frankenstein. This is the first clue students got for the activity: a baggie with a puzzle inside and a note indicating unscramble this. You do see a little number 2 in the corner. There's nothing significant about that. That's just how I identify the group number for this activity. As you can imagine, students will pretty quickly figure out they need to actually solve the puzzle. So the puzzle pieces get dumped out of the bag and onto the table. This puzzle for this activity has 20 pieces, and it takes probably about 5 minutes for students to get it all together. Once they do, eventually the teams will notice the highlighted letters in the puzzle. We let them write on the tables with Expo marker, and it doesn't take them long to figure out the first part of the clue once they notice those highlighter letters, the RELNO. But when they try to enter that combination into the 5-letter master lock that we're trying to open, they realize it's not possible with the dial options they have. So they will hesitate at this point a little bit. The challenge is in their remembering the first clue, unscramble this. Some remember right away, and other groups may need a little nudge. Eventually, they realize they have to unscramble those letters to solve the riddle, loner to open the lock. In Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein's creature is a loner, so this connects thematically with the story. It's such a great way to begin a breakout or escape room lesson. It's hands-on. It's challenging enough without being too hard. It gets students engaged in the lesson and lets them feel success pretty quickly. So let's learn how to make this puzzle in Canva. This is going to be a print and cut design on our Cricut die cutting machine. So we're going to be very precise about our dimensions for this project. You'll see why a little bit later. Just rest assured that setting these specific dimensions now in Canva will save you time later when you're actually fabricating your puzzle. I'll also show you some do's and don'ts in terms of puzzle design here that I learned the hard way. So we'll begin in Canva with a custom size. Go ahead and change the unit of measurement to inches and set your width to 9.26. And the height is going to be 6.5. We'll create that new design. It's not a bad idea to include those dimensions in your file name, kind of commit those to memory. We're going to remember those anytime we create a puzzle with a print and cut in Cricut. I'm going to go ahead and do that here. So now we have our custom size project template ready. It's time to add an image to this puzzle. For this project, I searched the Elements library for English countryside landscapes and selected photos to choose from since it was for a puzzle that we wanted to thematically connect to Shelley's Frankenstein. But you and your students can obviously search for or upload any images you like. There are obviously a million to choose from in our amazing Canva photo library. Once you find an image that works, you're going to go ahead and just click on it to add it to your canvas. We will resize it to make it fill the page. So this is the first image I originally settled on, and this is my design don't that I learned the hard way. So I went ahead and made the puzzle with this, realizing when I was done that it was way too hard. So don't do what I do, picking an image with little color variation or contrast when all of the pieces looked the same. It was obviously very hard to assemble the puzzle. So there were a couple of other options I considered, and I ultimately ended up going with the second one. It provided just enough colored variation and contrast to make the puzzle challenging, but not too impossible. So now we have our custom size project template ready. It's time to add an image to this puzzle. For this project, I searched the Elements library for English countryside landscape. Now we need to add text to our puzzle so we can incorporate our secret clue. So we're going to select the text icon from the design menu and insert a heading. For the puzzles I've created so far, I've just selected quotes from the text that relayed some major message or theme from the book. But obviously, you can choose whatever text you would like to include in your puzzle. We'll go ahead and get that all typed in. So I selected white for this text box so that it would show out against the darker background. And obviously you're going to need to resize everything, get it how you want, pick the font you like. For this particular puzzle, I chose something a little bit bolder. The Knockout Cruiserweight worked. It allowed me to have a bolder font and still get everything on there I wanted. It also allowed me to it had just had a little bit more heft to each of the characters so that when I went in to highlight the letters that I wanted to feature as the part of the code or the message to unlock the lock, it let those stand out. Now, if you're not noticing enough contrast, variation between the words and the background, you can do what I'm doing here. You can go in and blur the image a little bit to set that text off. And then, of course, choose a color for the highlight that contrasts with that background. So on this puzzle, I went ahead and just searched for a neon yellow. That seemed to work throughout. On my other puzzle, you'll see, I think I used red. Whatever color works. So we'll get all of those highlighted. Got our R, our E, our L, our N, and our O, which remember the kids are going to descramble to spell out loner, get all the words on the lines that make logical sense. And we are all set to download our image file. I have found with Cricut that using the PNG file format creates a nice, crisp, clear image. So that's what I'm going to do here for this one. They'll take JPEGs too, but I just prefer PNG. So here we go. We are going to download and we are ready to begin the next step. We have officially made it to the Cricut portion of the presentation. Yay! For this example, I'm showing you, I'm using a Cricut Maker and Cricut Design Space. You could certainly use a Silhouette or any other die cutting machine you have and the software that goes with it. I think they all work the same way. You don't have to do this on the Maker. You can do it on the Cricut Explorer. I've done it on ours and it works just as well. We are going to print this puzzle on plain white 65-pound cardstock paper. And we are going to design our jigsaw puzzle cut file with this amazing free web tool that I found at puzzle.telegnom.org. I've got the link embedded here for you to come back to later. So we are in Cricut Design Space now, and we're going to open a new project. From the toolbar at the left, we're going to click on that upload icon, and we are going to need to navigate to where we downloaded that Canva design we just completed. Once we import that file, we need to select the image type. And for this, we want to go ahead and click on that complex option. It's going to be a print and cut design, so that works best. We don't need to do anything as far as background goes. We're going to continue past that. And then again, select that print, then cut. That's important, print and cut image. We're going to upload our image type. We'll see it show up in our upload library, and we're going to click on it and add it to our canvas. Now, as you notice, that image coming in, if it seems huge, which mine did, don't panic. We have a new option here in Cricut now to auto resize. Because we saved this originally as the correct dimensions, it will resize perfectly, and we are all ready to go. Now that we've got our print image set, we need to add that jigsaw line overlay. So we're going to navigate to that handy free web app that I found. So let's go to that in our browser. And the first thing we're going to need to do is determine how many tiles we want our puzzle to have. Obviously, the more you have, the more difficult the puzzle will be. I set on 5 by 4, and that seems to work well. You can choose what you would like. And then we're going to want to go ahead and set those dimensions. This is in millimeters. So 235 by 165 is going to be close to the size of our Canva image. We can tweak that later to make it exact. You can play around with the sliders for the other jigsaw settings. That will change the look and complexity of your puzzle. I'm going to leave mine at the default settings that they had here. So once we get that all set, now we'll be ready to download the SVG file. And then we're going to follow the same steps as before to upload this image into our Cricut design space. When you upload the jigsaw file, don't panic when you see that the lines appear to be almost invisible. I promise they are there. Your background is already transparent, so you're just going to go ahead and save this as a cut file and then import it into your canvas. Also, when it appears as a big black box on your page, don't panic. This is just the jigsaw cut lines. So we want to make sure that this layer is exactly the same size as our image layer. So you're going to need to click on more and unlock the proportions and enter those exact numbers that we had, the 9.26 by 6.5 that we used when we designed our image file. After that, we need to select both of the layers, and we are going to double check those numbers, make sure they're right, and then we're going to select both layers, and we are going to click on Arrange, and then at the bottom of that menu, Center. It's going to snap everything together. If you want the image on top, you can flip-flop those layers. You're going to click Attach at the bottom of that layer menu. And now we are going to be ready to make our puzzle. So we're going to click Continue. We're going to make sure that we have the material we want in our printer. I'm using 65-pound cardstock. I like to include, when you get this print option, this menu pops up, I like to include a bleed edge. That just ensures that there's a little bit of extra space on the edge of the design for a cleaner cut. A little bit of fudge room if the blade's a little bit off. That's up to you if you want to include that part or not. Now you're going to run to your printer to retrieve your beautiful Canva created design. Be sure you are aligning the print correctly on your mat. For this cardstock, I'm using a standard grip mat. Now we're going to go ahead and load that material into the Cricut and double check our material settings. This, as I mentioned before, is 65-pound cardstock, but I'm going to set the cut to 80 pounds just to give it that little extra oomph to make sure it cuts well. And then we get to press the magic flashing button and watch the magic happen. Here goes our amazing puzzle. I cannot wait to see all of your cool puzzle ideas come to life. Before we wrap up, I wanted to share another puzzle example and idea with you. This one was for our last book club meeting. We had read Girl Forgotten by April Henry, and my students wanted to do a murder mystery activity after we read the book. But rather than just give everyone the clues like we normally do, my discussion leaders wanted to hide them like a scavenger hunt, they told me. So having just completed the breakout puzzle, my students and I came up with this revised version together. For this little hook activity, we broke the group up in 4 different teams. Each team received a puzzle that looked like this, but that was slightly different. The tombstone image the students selected, it was an important symbol in the book, and we selected a thematic quote to superimpose on top. Each team had different letters highlighted on their puzzle. And this time, instead of providing letters to unopen a lock, the clues provided a call number or location for a specific book in the library. And if they were smart, they noticed the genre label on the back of one of the puzzle pieces, and that helped them get to their book a little bit faster. Once they figured out they were looking for a book in the library, there was a lot of running happening. Students ran to the stacks to locate the book that they were looking for so that they could find their murder mystery clues. This was such a fun way to use this puzzle idea that I had discovered, and I was proud of my students for coming up with the concept of embedding call numbers into the puzzle. Since this was my second one that I designed, it was a little bit fancier. I printed the image on a full label Avery sheet instead of cardstock, and then adhered that to a piece of chipboard before cutting it. And these are items I've listed the information here that I ordered off of Amazon. It gave the puzzle a little bit more heft and made it feel more like a real puzzle, but to be honest, it pretty much worked the same way as the other one. Here are all the material details for you if you want to get fancy with your puzzles. I'm also providing links here for you to the Canva puzzle template that we just designed together today. so that you can just copy that and use that as a jumping off point. I've also included that 4x5 piece jigsaw cut puzzle file for you as well. Y'all, thank you so much for your time today. I hope that you enjoy all of the rest of your amazing sessions in Canva. If you have any questions or ideas, please reach out to me on social media. I'm on Instagram and X at McEachern LLC, or you can find me at mceachernlibrary.com. If my presentation today inspires you to design something fun and amazing, please tag us to share. I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.